On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, Gun Jesus and Sweaty Ben go to war. Is Hudson Manufacturing in trouble? Finally, an SKS product I can get behind, and drinking wine out of a Pringles can. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 121 of the John1911 Podcast. How's your morning been going so far, Freeze?
And it's been busy.
Yeah, it's late morning. It's been real busy for both of us. It's 11:30.
I've been at it since 4 a.m.
Yeah. Well, apparently you were at it at 4 a.m. Looking at how retarded somebody can mess with their AR rifle.
Well, yeah.
We'll go ahead and finish that because we started off pod and I was like, save it for the podcast. Tell the listener what this is, how you got it, and then what you discovered.
Okay. Someone someone asked me about, God, I want to think 6-7 months ago if I would look at their rifle because it wasn't working. And I'm like, sure, drop it off. And I forgot about it. So all of a sudden the other day, this AR comes into the workbench and it's a build. And I posted a picture of it. There'll be a little write-up on it on the blog page if anyone's interested. But it's a honking AR, man. I mean, it's got a 24-inch fluted stainless barrel. It's got a handguard on it that looks like a sewer pipe that weighs about 80 pounds. Bipod.
It's either a bench rest rifle or a weasel wagger.
Yeah. Well, it's got like a 40 power scope on it. I mean, this thing's a hoss. And I mean, at first looking at it, you'd go, oh, 308. No, it's 5.56. But anyway, so the guy told me, he's like, the gun doesn't run and the buffer tube, detent pin or retention pin, it was missing. So when you break it down, the buffer tube flies out, which is not that big of a deal. That doesn't prevent it from running. A matter of fact.
So did the current owner, did he buy the gun this way or did he make the gun this way?
Well, he didn't build the gun. He bought it. So He's a secondhand owner. Whether he created the problem, I don't know. I haven't talked to him yet, so I'm not sure who caused the problem. Whether he got it this way or he thought it would be cool to do it this way. But anyway, so if you look at the picture of the gun on the workbench, it's got a bipod, and the bipod's attached to a rail on the bottom of the gas tube. So First thing I did is I broke the gun down, took the buttstock off and put a new retention pin in there to keep the buffer from flying out every time you break it down. That's a 5-minute fix. It's no big deal. It's just, unscrew the buffer tube a couple turns, drop it in there, screw it in, just boom, and, put it back together, 5-minute job. So then I started looking at, why doesn't this thing run? And while I had it apart, I looked at the bolt, the bolt and the bolt carrier and all that. Everything looked fine there. So next thing I did is I went up and looked at the gas block, and on the top of the gas block, there's a hole, and you can see right down into the hole in the barrel. So
it's like,
yeah. So then I looked at, I looked down and the gas tube is twisted. And basically what someone did, and I probably know, but I'm not pointing fingers yet. What they did is they thought, hey, I'd like to put a bipod on this gun, but that rail's on top. It needs to be on the bottom. So they loosened the gas block, twisted it 180 degrees, tightened it back up, basically turning it into a single shot rifle because every time you pulled the trigger, it vented the gas right out the barrel. So, hey, rookie mistake. I'm being kind. So,
this is the danger of the Mr. Potato Head gun. The Mr. Potato Head gun is great because anybody can do whatever they want to it. The Mr. Potato Head gun is dangerous because anybody can just do whatever they want.
Well, you kind of have to understand the concept of gas impingement. If you don't quite understand how it works, then you don't realize that certain things have to be a certain way.
I'm willing to bet you that until the piston-driven ARs really kind of became a thing and it became this big debate, most owners of AR-15s, civilian owners, did not understand how their gun cycled.
You know what? No argument. I don't disagree with that statement. I don't disagree with it.
I would say in the year 2000 of our Lord, most people that owned ARs did not really understand what was really going on.
Well, I think when the AR build craze started getting big, a lot of people started getting a little bit more savvy and they started learning a little bit more on how things worked. Because you're going to build one, you kind of have to know how it works.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I took the whole gun apart. I took the gas block totally off, took the handguard off, and looked at the barrel because it's got a 24-inch fluted stainless barrel. It's a really nice barrel, but I couldn't find a manufacturer's marking on it, so I have no clue who made it. Who the barrel's made by, but
I would ask what the owner does with this rifle, but I would guess nothing because it doesn't shoot.
He's just a gun guy who he shoots probably about what the average Joe shoots.
One shot at a time.
In this particular gun, yes. But what's interesting, though, is this is a build, and whoever built this thing on a lower. It's and I'd never actually seen one of these lowers. I'd heard of them. It's called a Raggio, Raggio.
Yep. Never heard of it.
Well, they're not in business anymore, and if you go on the internet, they get a really, really bad rap.
Really?
But you know what?
Okay. Well,
this lower, I mean, if you look at it, the tolerances and everything are good. So, I don't know. Maybe this was an anomaly, but you remember when, I want to think it was around the time Obama got elected in 2009 when all the prices of AR shit skyrocketed because Obama was going to ban guns and all that shit.
Oh, dude, I remember it was in the summer of 2008. The election hadn't happened yet. And I remember, because I distinctly remember the LMT gun, the LMT lower that we have now that, I use as kind of like the bitch gun. Yeah. Was a truck gun. That lower, I bought that lower while I was in Vegas in the summer on a business trip. And it was like, I'm not a big AR guy, but it's like, well, I guess I better buy some shit because I don't think these Republicans are going to win. And that was in the summer of 2008. I mean, and the shit was going up in price.
Yeah.
And everybody was selling out of everything.
Well, a lot of lowers back then were going for like $300 and $400. I mean, these are lowers that you can buy for $80 today. I mean, it was crazy back then. So
yeah, I paid $300 for that LMT lower. I bet.
Well, the crazy thing is, this gun's, I mean, it's obnoxiously heavy, but it's got a nice barrel. I mean, what they built it up on, I mean, is nice. I mean, I don't know what they spent on this gun because, well, it kind of depends on when they built it, on the price at the time. But this is not a budget build. I mean, they spent a couple of bucks on this gun, and and all it took is someone trying to put a bipod on it to get it to not work.
See, that's the question I had. I just wondered if it's one of those things where somebody had a gun that didn't work, so they sold it to get rid of it because they didn't know what was wrong with it, or whether it was functioning and then the current owners messed it up. Because sometimes you see that people will sell problem guns.
Sure. And
I sold a problem gun years ago. I had this at the time. It was a 1911, and I think you might remember this gun. It was a IMI 1911, and this gun was just nothing but trouble. It was an impulse buy, and there was a guy that I knew at the time, and he was convinced that he could fix the gun. He was confident that he could get this 1911 running, then he could sell it and make money on it. Okay. He was like, I'll take it. I'll take it off your hands. So he took it off my hands, and he never was able to get out of that gun. He ended up taking a huge hit on it because he had to sell it as like he was trying to work on it, and I think it ended up making it worse. He basically had to sell it as a parts gun.
Oh, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, but I sold it to the guy in full, full understanding of what it was. And, he didn't buy it, and he got it cheap, but he ended up selling it with the money he put into it, buying parts and trying to get it to work. I just kind of wondered, when I hear stories about ARs that are, of questionable history, and then, maybe they were bought on a secondhand market, you're like, oh God. What are you really buying here? Well, gun show special.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the answer. Like I said, I haven't talked to the owner yet about if it worked when he got it or if it just never worked. But
I'll tell you what. Speaking of companies that have gone out of business, and I don't know if they're out of business. I noticed this last night, and we chatted about it earlier today. Were you able to find out anything on the status of Hudson Manufacturing?
No. The only thing I can tell you is their Facebook page. The last post was December 11th.
If you go in to their last post or the last couple of photographs on their Facebook page or on their Instagram, and you actually open up the comments, what'll happen is you'll see comments fairly recently going, hey, you guys going to answer my calls? Hey, your voicemail's full. Or, hey, I don't get any emails back. Or, hey, what's going on? Or one guy's like, hey, I sent you money in July. I don't have my gun. And some guys are like, hey, my gun broke. You sent it back to me. Now it's broke again. And, I need to get it worked on. And it looks bad to me.
No, that's not a good sign.
And that is not a good sign. I'm hoping, like I heard a rumor that maybe Hudson is having some issues with a supplier. And, I hope that's true. But you and I discussed this when Hudson first came out. And I think a lot of people in the industry realized this. That's why they were trying to help Hudson. Hudson wasn't like Daniel Defense or BCM or any of these other companies that are basically standing on the shoulders of another design. Mm-hmm. Hudson Manufacturing has come out of the gate with a completely new gun.
Yes.
That they have to figure out. They had to design it. They had to test it. They had to refine it. They had to get it insured. They had to design, figure out manufacturing of it. And then, they spend all that money and realize they got to make more changes. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure Henry Ford's Model T wasn't, or his Model A, whatever car Henry Ford was coming out with. He had a bunch of cars that he didn't mass produce because he was trying to figure out how to build goddamn cars. And, the odds were not great for Hudson unless they had deep pockets and, and the ability to withstand a lot of criticism. And I am fearful that maybe they may be that they might be in trouble.
Well,
Because,
I mean, I hope that's not the case, but we talked about this on a podcast way back when, like you said, and I mean, they had an uphill battle. All the odds were against them. It's difficult to start up with with a new gun and make it work.
yeah, and I actually have been waiting to buy a Hudson because I wanted some of the heat to cool off of it, because everybody was getting above MSRP. It's so hot, and I wanted one because one, I want to support an American manufacturer. I kind of know a little bit of the backstory of Mr. Hudson. I'm not going to go into, but it's like I want to support him and support an American business. Like, we can use more gun companies. And I thought it was an interesting enough gun that even long term, even if they went out of business or something, if they ended up, abandoning this gun and going to, the Hudson Glock or whatever, that it would be an interesting reference gun 10 years from now. Yeah. And it looks like some of these guns are breaking in 200 rounds.
Ooh, well, I mean, look, and we've talked about this before. There's been issues with the Hudson in the past, but that never really worried me that much because, man, there's always issues with new guns. I mean, even with like, Ruger and major manufacturers, I mean, Smith and Wesson. I mean, it's not.
Oh God, look at SIG.
Yeah. No.
I mean, SIG had problems with their P320. They've had problems with their 365. But the thing is, SIG has the wherewithal and the money to absorb a lot of those problems and keep marching forward.
Exactly.
And I don't think the Hudson family. I mean, it's just those two young kids.
But that's what I was saying. When in the early days when we heard Hudson was having all these different issues, it didn't really concern me so much. Because, a new gun platform, more often than not, does have issues, and that's fine. They get worked out. But like you said, when you're a major company, you have the funding to work it out and weather the storm. Whereas, if this is your sole bread and butter, that's a little bit more difficult.
It is. And, this is where we have to be. I don't really know what the genesis of the Hudson is. I know what they've said, but here's what I mean. Like, so I looked at some of the comments people were making, the problems they had with their guns,
mm-hmm.
and it generally seemed like maybe extractors broken or some cycling issues. Like, here's the thing. Unless if the extractor is like a 1911 extractor, I really don't know if it's like a Glock extractor or whatever, but it's like, you could, as long as you have some parts, you could kind of maybe futz with it and, work on the angles and work on the feeding and, and springs. But the thing is, these guns are so new. Like, I knew if we bought one that if we had a minor issue, we could probably just fix it ourselves in the house. And if we had a major issue, we would just take it over to Matt and have him fabricate a part.
Yeah.
But, if you're to that point in the U.S. market, you are dead meat. And I hope that's not what's happened.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I just noticed it last night. So I don't know if it's, whatever or not. So,
well, I mean, I hope it's not a total shutdown or anything. I hope, they're just trying to weather the storm and they come back strong.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of clusterfucks, because, it's amazing. It's, what is it, Wednesday?
Yes.
And, it's amazing. It's only been 4 or 5 days since we saw this. Is there any update to what's going on at Classic Firearms with the PM-63 Do you have any update on that?
No.
Because you let me.
No, I mean, other than the fact that,
well, tell people what we're talking about. So tell them what you told me.
Classic Firearms came out and offered a PM-63 for, I think it was $799.99. Well, there was a screw up along the way, and well, someone at Classic screwed up. Who, I don't know. But originally, what the deal was is they were supposed to get whole guns and semi-automatic and parts kits. They were going to sell the parts kits for $799.99 and the whole guns, the operational guns, for like $12.99. Well, they screwed up and they offered the whole guns for $800 basically. And once they caught the mistake, they canceled the orders, refunded the people the money, and they took everything down offline. Now, a lot of people, and I'm not going to go into names, got real ass hurt over that. And everyone, Classic in certain communities doesn't have a good reputation anyway. So,
we talk. I mean, what are they? We reference Classic all the time on this pod.
Yeah.
Is it Sweaty Bob or Sweaty Bill? What do they call him?
Sweaty Ben, I think. I don't know. We call him Sweaty Bill. We call him Sweaty Bob. I think his name's Sweaty Ben.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If we say Sweaty whatever, we're talking about the guy at Classic.
And the thing is, like, the Milsurp guys, they're half-cocked on him all the time anyway, because they're pissed off that he is selling, Milsurp guns and making money. But personally, I think he's bloody brilliant.
Well,
I love him. I love his business. That motherfucker is making money hand over fist.
Look, it's not really fair to say the Milsurp guys, because that's not true. A lot of Milsurp guys are buying his product. That's why he sells so much product. It's the guys that have CNR license, Curio and Relic FFLs.
You're right. I'm interchanging
because all those dickheads, and mind you, I've got a CNR FFL, so I'm one of those dickheads.
Dickhead alert.
But look, all those guys expect to buy any type of a CNR gun at wholesale pricing. And what they don't like about Sweaty Bob is he's a retailer. And, and he sells at retail and they don't like it. But, my thing is, if you want to get his wholesale price, buy 30 or 40 or 50 guns at a time.
Yes.
So anytime anyone gets a gun that they feel is like, this has a scratch on it and he sold it as excellent, so he's a dick, so they're always looking for an excuse to burn them. Well, so a friend of a prominent internet guy.
You know what? No, we are going to mention the people because the reason is, one, the person went public with it, so that's on him, not us.
Okay.
So I don't give a shit. And the second thing is, and since you kind of talking about it, I find the CNR license guys to be complete jack-off hypocrites, and here's why. They like the whack on Sweaty Bill because Sweaty Bill won't sell them at wholesale with their bullshit license for one unit, and they blame him for, that all their shit's more expensive now. But those same guys turn around and worship Ian McCollum.
Yeah.
And Ian McCollum is the one. He's one of the. He's not the one, but he's one of the major drivers of the cost and interest in all of these things. So they hate fucking Sweaty Bill, but they love Ian McCollum, and it's
AKA Gun Jesus.
Yeah, Gun Jesus. And look, I like Ian McCollum, and I personally like Sweaty Bill. But I think the guys in between here are the biggest fucking hypocrites.
They are. But look.
Yeah. So tell what happened with Ian McCollum. So the PM-63 You know what? Let me say this. Let me say this on the PM-63 to the listener. Okay. What is a PM-63? It's basically, in my opinion, it's made in the 60s, hence 63. To me, it's a 1960s era Polish MP7 submachine gun.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So
and it's
so they fucked this up. And then what happens?
So what happens is Gun Jesus's buddy orders one and from Classic, and of course he gets a notice saying his money's been refunded. And actually, we do have a screenshot of the notice from Classic, but
yeah, I'll put it all up on the in the blog.
And in the notice, they're saying, "Hey, we screwed up. Here's the deal." And this is we have all this documentation. The deal was we were going to sell parts kits for $800, and the whole gun's for $13. We screwed up. We didn't buy the parts kits, so there's no parts kits available because there's no receivers and there's no real way to build them into operational guns, so it wasn't worth it. But we did get the whole guns, but since you paid money and we have to refund it, we'll knock $50 off of the price if you want to buy, the whole gun at $12.99.
At the price it really needs to be.
Yes. So anyway, Ian goes on this crusade. Classic's a piece of shit. Don't ever buy from them. They screwed my buddy. And of course, all his followers are like, ooh, Ian's going to put Classic out of business now. They better apologize, which is just bullshit. But
well, a couple things with Ian, with this situation. So I guess Ian's buddy gave them money on a credit card.
Yes.
And thought he had a gun. And then they returned the money and said, we screwed up. We can't sell these guns at this price.
Yes.
And so now Ian is accusing Classic of not making a mistake, but of deciding to sell guns at a certain price and then realizing they could charge more money. And, look, if you hate Sweaty William, whatever his name is, and you're predisposed to already hate him, you're going to believe that. But you and I are in business, and you and I have dealt with a lot of this. Sometimes you fuck shit up.
Yes.
And, here's the thing. So I don't know how many of these guns old Sweaty Bill has, but he had to buy a pallet load of them to get them. And he can't blow those things out for less money than what he paid for.
Well, and here's another thing. This has not been said, but I guarantee you this is the truth. When they put these up for sale, I'd say they sold a shitload of them at $800. That's why they refunded money. Because if it was one guy, say they only had one or two sales before they caught it and they stopped it, they could, as a business, you could very easily say, you know what, we're going to take it in the ass on this, but we'll let these sales go through. But we stopped the other ones.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It wasn't like they came out with a product that was put into their e-commerce store, but it was the wrong price. What happened was, because in parallel to you seeing this, I am also a customer of Classic Firearms at the Armory. And so we get the alerts over here, and it's like, I see the video, and I'm watching Bill or Ben or whatever his name is. I got to stop. I mean, I call him Sweaty whatever, but I really like the guy. And he's got this video of this gun, and he's standing there, and he's talking about it, and he's pushing it one-handed and all the cool things. It's in pistol form because technically it's a sub gun. You can't bring them in as rifles. So it's like tack welded and all this crazy shit. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, holy shit, I have never seen this gun before in the US. And I was like, let me go to the goddamn store and fucking buy one. And I went to the store, and they were gone. Like, it wasn't even there. And I'm like, that's odd. I guess I missed them. And then the video came down, and it's not like it was a half-ass mistake. The entire video where Bill or Ben is talking about the guns. He's giving the price of the gun on the video. Like, the entire video's fucked up, and they had to yank everything. Because I tried to send you the video before we even realized what was going on. I tried to send you the video, and I'm like, hey, man, check these guns out. What do you know about these?
Yeah.
And the video was gone.
Yeah.
This happened very fast. They had that video down off the internet, I think, within 4 hours after publishing it.
Yeah, well, basically, someone caught the mistake real quick.
Not that quick. I mean, I don't know how many they sold or what's going on, but here, it's like, look, this is where, I think look, if I'm going to call Sweaty Ben or Sweaty Bill, I can call Gun Jesus. Look, Sweaty Ben and Sweaty Bill, they're already taking it up the ass on this. So now it's time to whack on Gun Jesus. I think Gun Jesus has written a little bit of a check here that his ass can't cash. Okay, I understand he's Gun Jesus, but I think he has lost his perspective that Sweaty Bill, that is a multi-million-dollar company. Okay, and they make their money $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 at a time. Those motherfuckers move guns like crazy. And the reason they move guns like crazy is because they buy them by the pallet load. How the hell does anybody think they got the Scar 20s so cheap? They bought a fuck ton of them, But Gun Jesus has decided that, this is some personal affront to him and his buddies, and he wants to go to war with Classic Firearms. And it's like, Classic Firearms, no business that's that big, no business that operates the way they do, did this on purpose. They've not taken anybody's money, give them all their money back, all the fees. They've unwound all the transactions. They've cleaned it up. Okay. And, Gun Jesus has decided that's not good enough. And then here's the best part. All of Gun Jesus' buddies that are like, they want to take sides on this. They're like, yeah, he's going to put Sweaty Ben out of business, or fuck them. I'm never going to buy a gun from them ever again. And all this and all that, just like these people are going to boycott Gillette. Okay. All these fucking guys that are writing all these comments, and they're all like, yeah, fuck those guys. You assholes, the second a gun pops up at a decent price that you want for your collection, your motherfucking ass will be over there fucking buying it. So shut the fuck. Just, like you and I don't know Milsurp guys. The biggest bunch of fucking full of shit people. Like, oh yeah, I have principles. I'm that one gun that I can't get. Sweaty Ben's got them at good prices, and if I don't buy one now, they're going to go up even more. But I'm not going to buy from Sweaty Ben because I have principles.
Well, let me tell you what. Everyone who says that, every one of Gun Jesus' buddies, if Sweaty Ben is the only guy that manages to get the FG42, guess what? They're all buying.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, come the fuck on. I mean, all you have to do, you know what? Yeah, it's real easy on Facebook. You can get or your little Milsurp forum, and you get in there and you guys all circle jerk each other, and how your tribe, and you're all high minded, and you all have this like, we're on this together. But then as soon as you fucking get on Gunbroker and you look and you find the gun you want, and you see the price that they're asking for them on the full blown secondary retail market, you're asking me right back over there, goddamn Sweaty Bill, cleaning out his fucking shopping cart.
Yes,
I bet you, and I can't prove this, but I had a theory, just snapshotting some of the stuff. I think there are some days that Sweaty Bill moves 300 guns a day. And
I don't know how many guns he moves a day.
I don't either. That's a guess.
But
and I bet you they average. I bet you they have slow days and they have busy days. But almost you get emails almost every day, and it's this. Well, this is out. This is in. and look, let's be honest. Look, one of their marketing plans is, and we know this, and this is a little bit in defense of Gun Jesus, his argument, because we know Sweaty Bill does this, because every business does this. They get a new product in. Let's say they get 100 of them, okay, on a pallet, because they got to buy them by the pallet. They take about 20% of them or 30% of them, and they make a video, and they're like, hey, everybody, we got a bunch of these in. We haven't seen these in a long time. The person listening to me right now, tell me you haven't seen this exact fucking sentence come out of Sweaty Bill's mouth. Hey, everybody, we haven't seen these in a long time. We have a small batch of insert your favorite Brazilian, whatever bullshit milsurp gun. These are super clean or these are whatever. We have a small limited quantity, and we're going to put them up starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. You can do hand select, or you can do this, or you select your options. And, we haven't seen these, and these are great, and I love these, and this is how it looks. Come on over here, look at the, whatever. And then that happens. They make that video, and they're gone. And about 15% of their stock is gone in about 2 days. And everyone goes, shit, because I should have bought one when I had a fucking chance. Then about goddamn 2 weeks later, hey, everybody.
We were able to procure another batch.
And everybody because look, dude, you and I saw this. We saw this with the Chris Kyle shirts. We saw this with a lot of our shirts too. We had the stuff, but it was available every day. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was available every day, unlimited quantities, as much as you wanted to fucking buy. And the second we started taking shit offline, people would be like, well, fuck, I was going to buy one. Because everyone's like, when you have the money in hand and the product is there, well, I'll buy one tomorrow. And it becomes tomorrow. Sweaty Bill has figured out how to basically keep the people on the hook. They don't basically dump their entire inventory. And look, and if you're listening to this and you discover this, and this is the first time you've heard this, and you're like, well, that's fucking wrong. I got news for you assholes. You think Century doesn't keep shit in their warehouses for years until the prices go back up?
Yeah, Century has warehouses full of guns in other countries. They're just waiting for the opportunity to bring them in.
Well, shit, they do it here.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They bring out a bunch of guns, and the price of the guns depresses. And they're available just like these Mosins. Oh yeah, you could buy a Mosin for whatever. Now they're so expensive. Have you noticed all of a sudden Mosin rifles, Sweaty Bill shows up with Mosin Nagant rifles now? It's not like, oh yeah, we just found those in Vladimir's outhouse. Yeah, they've been in goddamn aisle 6 at Century Warehouse number 4 for a decade. It's like, this is how this shit works. And so, I don't think, I would, by the way, what was it? Let me look on Gunbroker real quick. Because after, I did a screen grab of this too. After that all fell apart, I told you, I said, Sweaty Bill is not going to be the only company that got these PM-63s, and it took about 48 hours, and one popped up on Gunbroker.
You sent me the link to that.
And you know what? And check this shit out. Hold on. Let me do another, put a space in it. And let me make sure it's only 2 pages. So check this out. It was 2 days later. A PM-63 complete gun, the exact same gun that Sweaty Bill was selling, popped up for sale. I think it was in Ohio. Dealer popped up with one, and he want $1,600 for that?
I don't remember. It was
more than 12. It was more than 12. It was expensive. And here's the thing: that fucker, they sold that fucker. It's gone.
Well, and look, let me tell you something. Do you think Ian's buddy, who's all pissed off because Classic refunded his money, you don't think that son of a bitch wasn't going to sell that thing for $1,500-$1,600 himself? He was going to double his money.
I don't know. And here's the thing. It's entirely possible maybe we don't have a full story either. Ian's buddy could have been buying 5 of them, keep one for himself, and flip the other ones. Because that's what a lot of people do with classic firearms. Oh, by the way, interesting story here. Cajun Country Arms in Catherine, Louisiana. And I've heard of them because they do a lot of custom jigs and receivers and barrels and stuff. They make a .380 caliber barrel for the PM-63.
Well, that's nice because 9x18 sucks.
I don't think it's a 9. Is it 9x? Is it Makarov or is it a
9x
Tokarev round?
It's a Makarov round. It's 9x18.
Okay. Here's the thing. If we ever get one, maybe we just buy is it a drop-in barrel? I don't know.
I don't know.
So anyway, that was the big thing.
I'll tell you what we're not going to do is get one for $1,600.
You know what? It depends on what they end up ultimately selling for. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if the market gets flooded with them, we won't have to pay $1,600, but they'll be.
I mean, honestly, for a gun that's in 9x18, that you have to spend more money to convert it to 308, which isn't really a whole hell of
380. I mean,
we're not
going to convert it.
Yeah, but I mean, the cost of 380 is not much different than the cost of 9x18, and I mean, for that kind of money, you can buy a whole hell of a lot of other guns that are less painful to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reference gun. It's not like a gun you're going to carry and shoot all the time. So look, the reality is the PM-63, it's a rifle. I don't, it can be a pistol. I understand. Whatever. It's a fucking rifle. And the reality is rifles can be in bullshit calibers, especially if you're not shooting them all the time. You know what I mean? It's a fucking rifle. And so.
Yeah, but,
It's like, to me, it's like buying a rifle in 6.5 284. It's like, well, I don't fucking want to deal with that caliber. Well, how often are you going to shoot that fucking rifle?
Yeah, see, I wouldn't buy 6.5 284 either.
It depends on what it was. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's just, you have to balance, one versus the other. It's like, we've got guns that are in, some non-standard calibers. They're not NATO calibers, but it's, they're fucking rifle, 8mm Mauser. Now, here's the thing. You can make an argument, well, fuck, 8mm Mauser, you can get it everywhere. You know what? You can't get it as easily as you used to because a lot of the milsurp 8mm dried up. So you can get it just like you can get anything else.
Yeah,
7mm Mauser, kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can get 9x18.
Yeah, you can get 9x18. I'm sure you can either get it on the secondary market or the Mills collector, whatever, the Milsurp market, or you can get it from fucking PPU. So whatever.
No. I mean, 9x18's out there. It's just it's a little harder to find and it's pricey, but it's out there.
Well, you know what? Speaking of this, because I know you'll never buy this, Henry lever guns. One, you hate lever guns. Second of all, don't you hate the Henrys because don't they load from the front from the tube?
Let me clarify. I don't hate the Henry makes a beautiful rifle. I mean, if you look at their lever guns, man, they're good looking guns. I'm not a fan of the lever action rifle. Our followers know that. And then to take a lever action rifle and make it a 2 feet on top of it, man, it's like there is nothing on this table that even gets me remotely excited.
Well, here's the thing. This is going to make your dick even smaller because Henry has now come out with a 6.5 Creedmoor lever gun.
Oh, Jesus Christ, really?
Well, it's interesting because, look, I predicted this and, a lot of people were like, I kind of got some blowback on this. Look, We don't own any 6.5. I'm not against 6.5. I mean, 6.5 is basically 6.5 Swede in a short action. I get it. The 6.5. I mean, trust me. I mean, 6.5 in Europe and the 6.5 Swede, you're so much ammo and options and match ammo and heavy and light and hand loads. Most Americans don't really appreciate what you can do with a 6.5 Swede because it's a longer case. You can even go heavy with it. I mean, it's a really cool round. What sets it back in the U.S. is the 6.5 Swede is a long action round, and so it doesn't fit in a lot of our American guns. So 6.5 Creedmoors come along, and now all these, you're like 6.5. You can take a 6.5 and you can go to your local matches and you can go to your this because all the cool kids were all running 6.5. And here's the thing. That's cool. They really did a good job on marketing the 6.5, all the cool kids, all the Sniper's Hide guys, all the PRS guys, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. Everybody's coming out with 6.5 now. But if you look at the people that drove the 6.5 caliber, they've all left 6.5 and they're all going to 6 Creedmoor, 6. So there's 6 Creedmoor, 6 CM, and then there's one 6 PRC now is a new one, and a lot of them are using 6. Is it 6x47 Lapua or something? But it's like, here's the thing. In my opinion, if you want to go to one of these big matches with all the cool kids, and you want to show up with your production 6.5 Creedmoor gun, you're like, oh yeah, I can shoot this. You're gonna get smoked. Nobody's running 6.5 Creedmoor anymore. They've left it behind. And if that thought process falls away and doesn't bolster 6.5 Creedmoor, I wonder if 6.5 in the long term is going to be like 40. It's 40 Smith & Wesson.
I don't know. I don't really care enough to give it that much thought. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I just was, one of those things. It's like, I'm old. I've seen calibers come and I've seen calibers go. Hey, so
it's 10 millimeter.
I sent you a thing on a SKS chassis by Fab Defense, and I said, hey man, if we ever find a $50 SKS at barreled action, we should drop it to one of these Fab Defenses. And you were like, good luck, dude. SKSs aren't $50 anymore.
But look, okay. The first thing is when you sent me that link, I thought, oh, okay, it's Fab Defense, so all the fucking fanboys are going to get all excited and start jerking off over it. And I thought, oh, great, another chassis for an SKS. Woohoo! Big fucking deal. Then I got to looking at it.
Dude, it looks good.
And I'm like, you know what? What I like about it is the buttstock. The rest of it I don't give two shits about because it's what the fuck. But the buttstock is probably one of the nicest designs I've seen on an SKS chassis. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a nice chassis. And I'm not a big chassis person, and I'm not a big SKS person, but I was like, you know what? Like many years ago, I had this deal trying to buy some gun, and some guy was trying to sell me another gun with it, and I'm like, I don't want that gun. That gun, I don't want the gun shit. And he ended up basically giving me, it was an SKS, he ended up giving it to me. And I subsequently, it was like, I think it had an aftermarket stock. Like it had been, the kids are all doing all this goofy shit with the SKSs. And this is during the assault weapons ban. I ended up giving it to a cop buddy of mine whose son had just gotten on with the sheriff's office. And so he didn't have any money. And so it was like, well, would your son like to have this gun? He was like, he would love to have a gun. I'm like, well, here, take this SKS. Just remember, if it comes back hot, it came from this guy. So, and I never saw the gun again. But now today, it's like, man, if I had that 25 years later, I dropped that in one of those Fab Defense chassis systems.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the thing. Now I'm in the market. If I see like one of those crazy SKS guns that's got like, the bullshit magazine conversion and, like all the rails sticking out of it and the bullshit stock and it's been all assed up and it's not worth anything. Hell, if I can get it cheap enough, I'll get that just to rip it out of that stock and put it in the FAB Defense stock.
Well, that's going to be one of those things where you're not going to find anything like that on Gun Broker. I mean, you'll find assed up SKSs, but they're not going to be cheap. What's going to happen is you're going to be out doing whatever, and you're going to come across someone with an assed up SKS they want to get rid of, and you're going to be able to jump on it at a decent price.
Yes. That's why I wanted you to know that. And so in case you're out and you run across an assed up SKS, grab it.
Normally you'd go, I don't fucking think so. You go, oh, wait a minute.
Because, we would want a reference gun. We would want it because of military or this configuration.
Yeah,
no. Grab that.
You get one that's in either a jacked up stock or an aftermarket stock, and the bayonet lug's been hacked off of it, and someone's just done all kinds of stupid shit to it, and you can get it for a decent price. Now that there's a chassis system out there that I actually kind of like, might not be bad for a donor project.
Might not be bad at all. Did you hear about Monster Jam removing guns from their trucks, like from their sponsorship? I guess Monster Jam is the monster truck business.
Okay, I did hear about that, but I've got two data points on this. First off, I can almost swear I heard that they were going to do that like 2 years ago.
Oh, was that an old thing?
I could have swore. I mean, I don't know if this is something that's new that's reoccurring, but I could have swore I heard that they were going to remove like gun names from trucks like a couple years ago. So when I heard the blurb a few days ago, I'm like, really? I thought they already did that. But I don't follow monster truck racing and shit, so I don't know.
I don't either. You know what? It could be an old story, and maybe it just got recycled, and I didn't check it.
But the other thing is, if this isn't a current news story, I mean, I'd be willing to bet probably about 90% of the monster truck fans are gun owners.
Yeah, like I don't understand what the rationale would be. Let's assume it's true and let's assume it's recent. Even if it's not recent. I mean, I guess if we're going to have a bunch of people going around in boardrooms and they're going to start virtue signaling everything, it's like, was it look, I don't know. Are we all supposed to be boycotting Gillette today? Is that the new one now? Like we have to boycott Gillette?
I saw the Gillette commercial.
I haven't even seen it.
And, okay, here's the truth. 80% of the people that watch a Gillette commercial won't even catch it, and they'll be like, whatever. The 20% of the people that are ass hurt over it, yeah, I see it. It is kind of an obnoxious commercial because it's like, fuck you guys. But if I use Gillette razors, which I don't, but if I did, I probably wouldn't boycott Gillette because if I liked the razors and I used them, I'd continue using them because I'm not going to boycott them over a stupid commercial that they're probably going to pull because of the backlash.
Look, I look at a lot of this stuff as like a fad, kind of like bell bottoms. It's like, okay, like what is toxic masculinity? Because again, I haven't seen a commercial, but my understanding is, the argument is that you shouldn't go around kicking people's asses and raping women and disrespecting people and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, it's called being a fucking man. It's called being a being like a modern member of Western civilization, open up doors for women, say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
I mean, this is the shit that my parents taught me 40 years ago. And your parents should be, to the young kids today, should be teaching them that today. I mean, the shit that they're talking about in this commercial, they're acting like everyone's a freaking animal and no one knows this stuff. And it's kind of like, it's kind of offensive on one hand if you really look into it. And if you were just sitting there watching a sporting event on TV and this commercial came on, you probably really wouldn't even pay it any freaking attention.
Well, it's interesting if you think about it from 30,000 feet and you're looking down at the world. So, okay, again, I'm not a really religious person, and I'm not one of those people. But okay, so the same people that are like, take religion, take morality, Western ideas of morality and right and wrong, and concepts of the nuclear family or the whatever family they call it, and all this stuff, and we got to get rid of all this. And now the same people that wanted all that are now running around pulling their hair out, talking about why all these young people are running around today like little fucking monsters. It's like,
well, I mean, the thing is, it's political. The PC culture is beginning to bite themselves in the ass. The backlash.
Did you see the one of the black girl that accused the black guy of white privilege because they were on the radio and she had no idea?
Yes. I love that. That was awesome. And I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. It really doesn't. She just automatically assumed, because she was all righteous and holier than thou, white privilege, blah, blah, blah. I'm a black chick. I can tell any white person in the world they've got white privilege, and lo and behold.
Well, look, I'm not trying to be like a super snarky, like 15-year-old bitchy girl.
I'll do that.
But if you, I'm just saying, I'm just like mean girl here. Like, okay, it's interesting. Why does a black woman get to be an expert in my white privilege? I'd be like, don't you tell me about my white privilege, bitch. I can tell you about white privilege. Who the fuck are you? You don't know. You ain't white. I mean, what I mean? Like, we can do this forever.
Yeah. You
can one up or oh yeah, or you can oppressor oppressed, to the fucking nth degree. It's just like, just treat people individually. If they act like assholes, just fucking treat them like they're an asshole. I mean, it's like, God almighty.
Again, it's the politically correct culture.
Well, here's the thing: the black woman and the black guy. I guess what's really embarrassing is the woman. She's apparently a pretty high. She's an on-air anchor personality for CNN, I believe. I mean, she wasn't like someone they just dug up off the street and threw on the radio, and she embarrassed herself.
Yeah. She's a pretty prominent person who seriously embarrassed herself big time. Of course,
and he was like, yeah, and I heard, because I listened to it. It only goes on for like 2 minutes, and it's awful. We'll put a link into it in the comments. But it's like, how much do you want to bet she fires somebody over that?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, because it's always somebody else's fault.
Someone has to take the blame.
Yep. How much? I'd be real curious to find out. The real story is if she fired somebody. And then here's the story from the story, because we can do this forever. Was she going to fire somebody, or did she fire somebody until she found out from the rest of us, oh, you can't fire somebody, so now she has to rehire them, and it becomes this vicious cycle of reactionary stuff because you have no sense of direction in your own life. You have no moral compass. You don't know which way's right and which way's wrong. because you're ping-ponging off all this other shit, and it's a train wreck. I bet you she fired somebody.
Oh, I bet you she's already fired them.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, man. I looked it up, and I was like, oh, So, we've been going for a while. We got to do some crime stuff. And, like Mexico never fails to disappoint, but I'm going to hold that one back. Dude, I saw a headline, and it made me think of you, and I'm so sorry to out you in public. But apparently Walmart now has a policy. You cannot go in their store on a jazzy scooter drinking a bottle of wine in a Pringles jar.
I beg to differ.
Here we go. Walmart bans woman who rode cart while drinking wine from Pringles Can. Police in Texas received a strange call on Friday that involved a woman drinking wine in the parking lot of a Walmart. Okay, well, all right. According to the USA Today, employees at the store at Wichita Falls in Texas, had asked officers to ban the woman after she had been drinking wine from a Pringles can for several hours as she rode around on an electric cart.
Yep.
Oh, dude, she's a day drinker. The incident reportedly began just after 9 a.m.
Actually, now hold on a second here. You're assuming her privilege of day drinking. Because
day drinking is not a privilege.
No.
Day drinking is a right.
No. She may not be day drinking. A lot of these people go to bed.
Mr. Third Shift.
A lot of these people go to bed around 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, sleep till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, then get up and they roll all night. So she could be evening drinking on her schedule.
She could be drinking on her schedule.
That's true. So you're assuming.
I used to know a bunch of whores, and I don't mean that the way it sounds. I actually mean that literally, who, after they got done working at night, they all would hit a casino at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah. I'm a third shift guy. I day drink. When if I get off work, at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's nothing for me to come home and have a cocktail before I go to bed.
Yeah.
It's all in perspective.
So you're going to defend.
It said, I don't roll out of bed and crack a cold bud either.
So, okay, look, there's a meme in life that says, like someone gets arrested and, they get patted down and searched, and it'll be, this, I'm trying to find it here real quick. That's not mine. These aren't my pants.
Are you talking about the guy with the needles?
Yeah, so this one happened. So this is the new record, because the first it's like, oh, these aren't my pants, or that's not my coat, or I'm just holding that. This is not mine. I'm just holding that for somebody.
Yeah.
So then the new record, this is to be a new record. Wesley Scott of Clearwater, Florida, was arrested in Pinellas County on an outstanding drug possession warrant. So he gets processed, and so they take him to the county lockup, and he's going in. So he's got to be patted down and do a basic strip search, and then throw the pajamas on him. Florida man says 3 syringes removed from his rectum during a jail strip search aren't his.
Those aren't mine.
Dude, is that even better than the old thing? It's like, hey Ray, we're here to arrest you for robbing that store. There wasn't me. We've got fingerprints of you and eyewitnesses. Wasn't me. You were identified by the perp behind the counter. Wasn't me. You're on video camera, mean mugging the video camera in HD. Wasn't me. It's like it's never wasn't me. They never back off that. I mean, the guys in jail
with needles up his asshole, and it's like, it's not mine.
No,
I'm holding them for somebody.
for a friend.
Oh God. Hey, I've been real busy, and everything's been going like. Oh, hey, I guess you know what? I should mention this. I should mention this to the listeners. Hold on now. I've been bitching about the rain all year. We had the third wettest year on record.
Yeah.
With all this range construction, and it's been soaking wet.
Yeah.
Well, dude, how much snow did we get?
About 9 inches.
Yeah, I mean, it's like hallelujah. I hope it stays cold enough.
Was that
the range freezes?
Was it you that was telling me how much we beat Seattle by in rainfall?
Yes.
Dude, that's amazing.
We have the third wettest. The year that you and I decided we're going to build a big old rifle range and hire a giant D8 dozer to do all this work.
Mm-hmm.
It's the third wettest year on record in this area, and they've been keeping records around here since the 1800s.
Yeah.
And this year, we beat Seattle rainfall by 20 inches.
That's impressive. I mean, usually
it's been awful.
I mean, in all fairness, usually our summers, by the time fall gets here, our water table's usually 6, 8, 10 inches down because of the lack.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that we're ever in really a drought, but we generally don't get enough to overflow the water table.
Yeah, that's, usually in the summer, they're like, oh yeah, we're getting a little bit of a drought. Everyone, they try to tell people to, that, oh, you got to alternate, your people that water their lawns and all that stuff. It's like, well, we're on the fucking Ohio River. No, we're not. We're not running out of fucking water.
Yeah. Well,
but it's just been crazy this year. And the thing is, this is the first real cold we've had too.
Yes, it is. Which I'm glad to see, because I'm telling you what, if we don't get some a good hard freeze, the bugs on the range this coming up summer are going to be obnoxious.
Yeah, and you know what? The decision to not put in a driveway this year to try to keep people off the range until we can get it secured, the with it being so wet has really hurt this year. I haven't shot on the range in almost a month.
Well, I mean, it hurt.
It's just been that's how bad it's been, and it's been been crazy. So,
well,
hey,
now I hear Monday we're supposed to have a high of like 17. So,
thank God.
So it should be a good enough freeze to be able to get back. I mean, you're not going to be able to take the truck deep into the range, but you'll be able to get back to the pistol pit.
Yeah, I can get to the pit. And, the thing is, too, because what we need is not just the snow. We have two things, and I've kind of learned this. The first thing is it's the freeze-thaw cycle. So all this dirt that we have disrupted, I need it to freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw so it compacts itself. It settles. And then we need the ground to actually freeze hard enough, because we have so much water in the ground that it just turns everything to soup.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. We have so much snow right now that if it got, I don't know, let's say it got up to like the 40s or 50s on Monday.
Oh man.
Oh my God. It would be awful. It would cause flooding because the water table's already so high.
Oh yeah. Because
I'm just like,
because everything at this point's runoff. Nothing's soaking in. I mean, I've got a couple of trees.
Don't you have trees down?
What's that?
Don't you have trees down because of it?
Oh yeah, I got a big ass locust tree down, and I've got like four piles of wood from trees that fell during that last big storm we had that I've cut up, but I can't get out there to move them because the ground literally has been a swamp. If I take my tractor or my four-wheeler out there with a wagon, I'll just rut everything up.
Yeah. And that's kind of the problem we're having on the range is I don't want to, we spent a lot of money, a lot of time grading and seeding for grass, and I just don't want to rut all this stuff up. So,
oh no,
no,
definitely.
But I've already talked to the contractors that we're going to have we're going to have a driveway and a small parking lot put in the spring.
Yeah, it's neat.
So I'm sure it'll be wet as fuck, but whatever.
Well, we need it.
Oh God, yeah, we do definitely need it. So
then we can continue our talk about fencing.
Yeah, actually, I've got a guy already who he's ready to go. It's been too much going on. Like I actually talked to him last night. So the fencing's pretty much, we don't have a signed contract yet, but it's basically.
You have everything in the works.
Basically in the works. Yeah. So, cause we got to it's not just the fencing. We got to get the gate and all that stuff in too. So. And then we can talk about a tower. So, because the thing is, we can't, once we put a tower up, it's going to attract all kinds of people. We got to lock that shit down.
Oh, absolutely.
Because someone will climb that tower. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, did you hear about the guy who drove the armored car and he disappeared with $150,000?
Yes.
Have they found that dude?
No, they have not found him.
Damn.
You know what? More power to him, because you know what Garda pays their drivers?
I bet you know.
Actually, I knew a guy who used to work for Garda, and
now he's in Mexico. You don't ever hear from him anymore.
No. No affiliation. But man, they only pay those guys like $10-12 an hour.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Christ.
You know, it's like, I don't know, if you're gonna
carry a firearm for $12 an hour, please.
You know, it's like if you want people to do a good job picking up your garbage, you want to pay them a pretty penny. You know, and if you want to have a bunch of people walking around with a bunch of money that's not theirs, they better have some healthy ass paychecks when they get home.
Well, so think about this: the guy who picks up your garbage every week makes more money an hour than the guy who takes your money to the bank.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's not even close.
I mean,
it's not even close.
Sad.
Maybe this way. Let's put it this way. Here's a clue. The mob never tried to move in on the armored car business.
Ooh, that's a valid point.
Because there's no fucking money in it. The only money to be made in that business is to steal it. Yeah, but you can make a shit ton of money in the goddamn garbage business. Yeah. So
you know what? Let me interrupt here. I was going to say it before. This is along the same lines as the guy who had the needles in his ass. I saw a headline earlier this morning, and I meant to read it, but I didn't, so I don't know any of the details. But a woman, all I know is the authorities, when they caught her, she had 4 Rolex watches totaling $108,000 in her vagina.
Damn.
I don't know if they caught her stealing them or, but she had $108,000 worth of your watch in her vagina.
You know, that movie, Been Caught Stealing, it's an old song from like the 90s, and the dogs are barking. And my watch is sharp enough that if you put 4 of them in some woman's hoo-hoo, I think that would hurt. I think that would get the dogs barking. I may have to lay that into the podcast.
Well, it depends on what kind of woman it is, and it depends on if she's calloused. But let me tell you my story of the week.
Your crackhead story of the week? Okay.
Yeah, this is a meth.
Then we're going to have to wrap this one up. Meth head story. I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't know we were being so high-minded here. Go ahead.
So, meth head girl is arguing, not with me, but with a compatriot of mine.
Okay.
As she's stating her case and arguing, a tooth
I heard about this.
Bounces across the
Say that again, because I think it broke up.
Say
it again.
As she was arguing, and she was being loud and boisterous, as she was yelling, a tooth literally flew out of her mouth and bounced across the floor.
For real.
For real.
This is a real story, everybody.
Story. It's not made up bullshit.
That was early last week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And on that note, this wraps up episode, what number is it? Episode 121 of the John 1911 Podcast. If you want to see any pictures or links to stories or videos of the things we've discussed, you can go to the comment section on our website. That is john1911.com, JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun, spitting out your teeth. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.